Because this is episode 5, and I'm not trying to get kicked off of YouTube 5 episodes in. So, hey, welcome back to the Oak and Ember podcast. I am the host and founder, Garrett Hines. Men, I am so glad you're here. I hope you're having a spectacular day. And let's jump into today's comment. Man, I have so many thoughts and so many feelings. If you know the Enneagram, that ought to give you a hint as to where I am in the Enneagram. Man, I'm going to do a whole episode on the Enneagram. I love the Enneagram. Anyways, I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of feelings when it comes to COVID. And I'm not going to say anything about any of that. Because this is episode 5, and I'm not trying to get kicked off of YouTube 5 episodes in. So we're not going to do that. But I do want to talk about something COVID related. You see, there was an article in, or was it? Okay, there was an article on the Daily Wire. If you don't know about the Daily Wire, you need to check them out. I'm not, no subscription, no paid promotion, none of that stuff. I just love how they report news. Yes, they are openly biased in one particular political direction, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that because they're honest about it. They're not trying to, we are in the middle and we don't care about anything. You lie. Anyways, I'm feisty all of a sudden. Second episode that I filmed today, and I think the first one got me fired up. So the second one, I'm like super jazzed. Let's do this. Anyways, there was an article on the Daily Wire about a New York art gallery owner who was putting out a warning about the newest series of mask mandates and potential lockdowns and all that stuff. I'm not going to talk about what I think about mask mandates. I'm not going to talk about what I think about lockdowns. Do they work? Do they not work? Definitely not going to talk about the vaccine because that's like a landmine apparently for everyone to step on in the content creator world. What I do want to talk about though is this art gallery's warning, because she has a good point. It's a really good point. See, the mask mandates, the lockdowns, all of those things are not about mask mandates and lockdowns. And her warning was that it's more than that. And this is the thing. Jeremy Boring of the Daily Wire talked about this in one of their backstage shows, an hour and a half show. They do a great job. But Jeremy Boring talked about this too, how quick people are to give up their freedom. And I would have taken that statement a little bit further, and I think he did. Maybe he didn't. I don't remember. I watched it a few days ago. People are so quick to give up their freedom if it means a little bit more safety. In fact, there's a quote out there, and I cannot remember the exact quote and who said it, but I know I read it recently. But it's the same thing. People are getting more and more comfortable with giving up their freedom if it means they get to be safe. And that is what's concerning about all this. Do I personally want more mask mandates and more lockdowns? No. I am a freedom-loving human being. And I don't know how you can perpetuate freedom when you're requiring people to do things they don't want to do. So I guess that's the quick comment for the day. Be wary, be mindful of things that look like they're going to help you when in fact they might actually be taking away your freedom. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying you're bad if you want mask mandates. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you want more lockdowns. I'm just saying we should think about things that are coming, what might happen in light of things that are being chosen right now. I think it's worth thinking about. It looks like to me we've made a lot of decisions for the short term without any thought about the long-term ramifications, and we've labeled it safety. So that's my quick comment for the day. There's so much more I want to talk about, but I'm not trying to get kicked out of the content world this early in. So I'm trying to, I think when this thing's a little bit more developed, I'm going to talk more about this stuff. especially when this stuff's more in hindsight. Man, today the episode is shorter because I wanted it to be more action-oriented, more doing-oriented, and less informational. The last few episodes have been rightly longer, and I want to give you something that's short and sweet and impactful and actionable. My wife will tell you, anytime she asks me a question of like, how do I change this, or how do I do this differently, how do I fix this, the answer is almost always, we'll go do something. I like doing things. I like getting stuff done. I like making things and doing stuff. And so anyways, now I'm rambling. I want this episode to be quick, to the point, give you some stuff to go do, give you some actionable things. I'm also trying to beat the sun, which is rising rapidly and baking my skin. I don't know. For those of you that don't live in Texas, we kind of have 2, 3-ish seasons. One we call fall, winter, winter, fall, something. I don't know. Last year, we actually had fall and winter. That was nuts. We had snowpocalypse, the grid, the whole thing. But we also have, I don't know. I don't really feel like we have a spring. We just have hot and hotter. And in the summer in Texas, somehow the sun decides it's a good idea to try and melt your skin off. And it feels like the sun is actually trying to intentionally melt your face off. That has absolutely nothing to do with today. But I don't know. I've been in this place of like, I love living in Texas. I'm sick and tired of burning up. Maybe I should move somewhere. I don't know. We'll figure that out. Anyways, let's jump into today's topic. And what I want to talk about today is one of the mental development tools that I believe every man needs to have. If you are going to develop yourself mentally, if you're going to become a more knowledgeable, a wiser, more thoughtful man, I believe you need this tool. And this tool is simple. Journal. No, it's not a diary. And I'm going to jump in real quick and tear apart this whole anti-journaling male stereotype. Men don't keep a diary nonsense. Because the truth of the matter is, from everything that I've learned from other people, like this isn't a me thing. This is something I've been given by wiser men that have gone before me. But every successful person in the business world, in the personal development world, writes stuff down daily. Now, the word diary, I get it. I don't use that word because it has a feminine context that I personally don't like. So I call it journaling because that's what it is. It's even a diary is just journaling. It's just some weird word we put on it with little locks and little things, right? But every man ought to journal. And a lot of times I hear from guys, well, I'm just not a thinker. And that statement boggles my mind. How can you exist in the world and expect to grow and go beyond your limitations if you don't do some thinking? Now, I realize that's not easy for everybody. I personally think I grew up kind of thinking repressed, always managed and controlled by my feelings, and I've had to do a lot of work to bring my thoughts in. But I think men who do some deep thinking about their day, about their life, about their world will grow where other men will not. So today's episode is really simple. How do you start journaling? And why? So, a couple of examples. I make my own journals. I mean, not the whole thing. Okay, let's not be that was overly simplistic. I go out and I buy a cheap hardback journal and I make my own cover, right? So stuff like this. Okay, I go out and I make my own journal. Now, there's a couple of different journaling techniques that I use that I would recommend to you. And if you want to know more about this, you can get it from, I learned from Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss is awesome. He's a phenomenal thought leader when it comes to entrepreneurship. I'm learning a lot from him and his content on YouTube and podcasting and the internet everywhere. He's everywhere. Learned a lot from him. And so these two techniques I got from him. One is a gratitude journal. So I keep one of these in my bigger journal. This is Field Notes from Aaron Draplin. Aaron Draplin he's just a cool artist, man. I hope one day to sit down with him and talk about his creative process, because I think his creative process can be really helpful to men in general. But this Field Notes by Aaron Draplin, I keep one of these in here, and in here I write down things that I'm grateful for. Every day I sit down, I write out the sentence, I am grateful for, because it is important to connect those two things together. Not just a list of things, but things that I am actually grateful for. So I write my list down. I am grateful for, and I write out at least 7 things. The 7's an arbitrary number. That's just a number I picked. It's not a number that I intentionally has some kind of meaning. It's just an arbitrary number that I picked out. I happen to like the number 7. So I write down 7 things that I'm grateful for every morning. Every morning. And then I do a couple of different journaling things. Sometimes, at night I do a brain drain. So every night I sit down and I just dump all of my thoughts about the day into my journal so that they're not in my brain when I lay down and go to sleep. This is for me at maximum 10 minutes. Most of the time it's 5 minutes. I'll get on my journal. I'll write down everything that I think about the day. Good, bad, ugly, otherwise. And then it's it. In the mornings when I get up, I will write down what I think about the day, what I think about things that are going on, stuff I want to talk about, things that are happening in my world that are impactful, all of that. And so I write all those things down. And I believe that if you'll do that, you will become a better, more organized thought leader in your sphere of influence, right? Because you'll start to learn how to train your brain to process your thoughts, right? So a lot of guys that don't do this, their thoughts just kind of happen, right? They just kind of ping pong everywhere. And I don't think that's useful. I think when you learn to journal, you learn to organize your thoughts in real time. And that becomes a technique that you can take into your business, to your family, to your home. So it's that simple. Go to a local store. Get some paper that's been bound together. Find a pen. Take 5 minutes in the morning. I journal longer than that. 5 minutes is all it takes. Take 5 minutes, write down your thoughts. Do the day, and at the end of the day, take 5 more minutes, write down what you think and what you feel about the day you just had. And if you'll do that, you will notice that you become a better thinker in real time in your day-to-day life. And that will make you a more developed man. Because the man that is only developed physically cannot impact the world around him for the better to the maximum of his optimal potential. It's a weird way to say that, but the point is, you cannot be just a physical being. You have to be a mental being as well. And to do that, I have found journaling to be the most beneficial way to do it. So there you have it, guys. That's it. That's that simple. Get some bound paper, get a pen, write your thoughts, journal every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. And watch what happens to your mental capacity as you do that. Man, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until next time, get out there and pursue life to the fullest. Cheers, guys.